Well, I am now being joined by a former Commissioner for Information in Rivers State, Dr. Austin Tam-George, who joins me from Lagos. Welcome and thank you for being here on News Now.
Thank you. Happy New Year, and thanks for having me.
Great. Well, with all the political crisis that has emanated from Rivers State, this seems like the latest episode. It seems like we've not seen it all. Why should a budget passed by a three-man assembly be a legitimate document? Why should that be?
Well, it should be because the former members of the assembly who defected from their party, legally lost any legitimacy to remain in the assembly. As you know, the law is very clear that if you left your party, without any contention within the party, then you lose your seat. The law is very clear, and I think there have been judgments, regarding that. So, this matter is already considered by the Rivers People as a settled matter. Now, the reality is that there are members of the assembly who now constitute the legal, legislative arm of the Rivers State government. So those are the people that the governor can only legally deal with, as constituting the state legislature. In fact, there are judgments that forbid the governor from dealing with the former members of the assembly. So the governor.
Okay, I don't know if you're still there, but if you can hear me. All right. We seem to have a little network connectivity issue there, but let's see if we still have you join us, Dr. Austin Tam-George. I'd like to ask very quickly what this means, especially for the Rivers people. Looking at the fact that this has been ongoing ever since the governor took his seat as the governor of Rivers State. It seems like there's no settling down anytime soon. Your thoughts on this as well? Well, hopefully we can reconnect with our guest who joined us. That's Dr. Austin Tam-George to speak on this, a former Commissioner for Information. All right, you're back. Yes, I just asked, what does this mean for the people of Rivers State? Looking at the fact that the governor, since he took office, hasn't even started work yet. He seems to be jostling and battling with a lot of both internal and external differences.
I mean, in politics, this kind of things happen. But what is clear is that he's dealing with the legally constituted legislative arm of government. So he's dealing with the government, with the legislative arm headed by the Right Honorable Local Jumbo. So I believe that the governor has no handicaps at all. He's dealing with the proper legislative arm. And the business of administration of the state has got to continue.
All right. I mean, you have been in government yourself, and I'm sure you understand its inner workings. Now, having been a commissioner yourself in Rivers State, what other priorities do you suppose the budget should have addressed that it didn't?
No, I've looked at the budget very closely myself, and I think it strikes, the right course. There is a very strong emphasis on rejuvenating the education sector, which is a very important area of human capital development. I was in the previous administration, and for 8 years, teachers were not paid. We had the highest number of children out of school in the South-South region, and not a single teacher was recruited in 8 years. Now, the Governor Fubara has made it a top priority to rejuvenate the sector. He has given budgetary priority to the sector. And what we are going to see is a massive rejuvenation of the education sector. That's number one. Number two, for 8 years under the years of Wiki administration, the healthcare sector was completely abandoned. I'm saying this because I was part of the government myself. I eventually resigned the protest against the cynical neglect of critical sectors. Right now, Governor Fubara is placing very strong emphasis in delivering the health services to rural areas. So there is going to be, according to this budget, greater health sector, rejuvenation and, far-reaching health penetration across all the 23 local governments. So, and there is also a very strong emphasis this time around on poverty alleviation. So I think that the budget, as presented by Governor Fubara, will address the very important critical sector sectors that will, move Rivers State to the level of development that the governor has set for as an agenda for his administration.
All right. I mean, still talking this matter. Let's also look at the back and forth conversations from the governor and the FCT minister. It seems like it's continuing all over again. The governor had earlier on possibly threw jabs at the FCT minister, and there was also a response from the FCT minister. Do you think that it's about time that this should be called off, while the people of Rivers State can actually start enjoying and benefiting from the dividends of democracy?
The governor has not taken any aggressive measures against the FCT minister. Ironically, it is the FCT minister who is aggressing the administration, who has made many public statements that he was determined to destabilize the state. All the governor is doing is to protect the interest of the state. There has been no action that is aggressive on the part of the government against the FCT minister. Now, for the benefit of those who are listening, let me make it very clear what is at stake here. Because sometimes the media appears to mischaracterize what is happening in Rivers State as a personal problem between the minister of the FCT and the governor of Rivers State, Governor Fubara. They have no personal differences. The major difference that is at stake is that the FCT minister wants to appropriate the resources of the state for himself. And the governor is saying, no, resources meant for Rivers State will only be used for the benefit of all the people of Rivers State. So what is happening is a very, very clear ideological struggle between, the forces of privatization of the state and state capture, represented by the FCT minister, and the governor who has vowed to make sure that the sovereign will of the people prevail. So it's as simple as that. I don't see how reconciliation is possible in this matter, because the people have a sovereign right to control their resources to develop the state for the benefit of everyone. So I think that, I served in the previous administration headed by the current minister of the FCT. And so my strong advice will always be for the FCT minister to focus on his administration in Abuja and allow the governor of Rivers State to implement the developmental agenda he has set for himself, so that Rivers State can move forward. This back and forth between the minister and the governor has nothing to do with personal differences, other than the governor insisting that there has to be an end to the privatization of state resources. There has to be an end to the capture of Rivers State resources for the benefit of the FCT minister, and that all resources meant for Rivers State will henceforth be used for the development of the state and for the benefit of all. It's as simple as that. Is the governor's agenda, and he has the full support of all Rivers people.